They say one promise can change everything. But what if that promise led to the ultimate sacrifice? The story I'm about to tell you might be the most disturbing tale in the entire Bible. And after 3,000 years, scholars are still debating what really happened. This is the shocking truth about Jephthah's daughter, the young girl whose father's rash vow sealed her fate forever. Imagine being a 12-year-old girl, excitedly running out to welcome your victorious father home from battle. You're dancing, playing music, celebrating his triumph. Then you see his face crumble in horror. Why? Because moments before, he promised God he would sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house. That thing was you. I know what you're thinking. Surely he didn't go through with it. That's where this ancient story gets even more complicated. Some believe he actually killed his only child as a burnt offering, while others argue he dedicated her to a lifetime of religious service. Either way, her future was destroyed by words spoken in haste. Let me take you back to 12th century BCE Israel. Jephthah wasn't your typical biblical hero. Born to a prostitute and rejected by his family, he was an outcast who became a military leader when his people desperately needed protection from the Ammonites. Before heading into battle, he made what historians call a conditional vow. Essentially, a high-stakes bargain with God. Now, here's what many people misunderstand about this story. Jephthah likely never expected a person to greet him first. In ancient Middle Eastern homes, animals typically roamed freely in and out of living quarters. He probably expected to sacrifice a goat or sheep. When his daughter emerged instead, everything changed. The Bible tells us she requested 2 months to mourn her virginity with her friends in the mountains. This detail has launched centuries of debate. Why mourn virginity unless she was going to live, not die? But then why would this be considered such a tragic story if she merely entered religious service? This is where biblical interpretation gets fascinating. The Hebrew text uses ambiguous language that could support either reading. The conjunction vav in Jephthah's vow could mean and or, drastically changing its meaning. And while child sacrifice was strictly forbidden in Mosaic law, dedicated service to God was not. You might be wondering why God didn't intervene. Where was the angel who stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac? Where was the community to prevent this tragedy? The silence is deafening and perhaps intentional, highlighting the moral chaos of this period in biblical history. What's truly remarkable is how this unnamed young woman responded. Unlike many biblical characters, she didn't protest her fate. Instead, she asked only for time to process her future before accepting the consequences of her father's words. Her dignity in the face of catastrophe has inspired countless reflections on courage and faith. The impact of this story extends far beyond ancient text. To this day, some Jewish traditions include annual mourning rituals for Jephthah's daughter. Modern feminist interpretations have reclaimed her narrative, focusing on her agency rather than her victimhood. She has become a powerful symbol for discussing consent, patriarchal authority, and the hidden voices of women in religious texts. So what actually happened to her? The evidence suggests that while she may not have been physically sacrificed, she was certainly sacrificed socially. In a culture where a woman's primary value came from marriage and motherhood, permanent virginity meant the end of her family line, particularly devastating as Jephthah's only child. This story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How often do our hasty words impact others? What vows have we made without considering their full consequences? And most importantly, whose voices are silenced in our own narratives? If you found this exploration of ancient text surprisingly relevant to modern life, you're not alone. The story of Jephthah's daughter continues to resonate because it touches on universal themes: the weight of promises, the complexity of faith, and the often overlooked courage of those caught in circumstances beyond their control. Before you go, let me know in the comments which biblical story you'd like me to explore next. Hit that subscribe button if you want more deep dives into the surprising and sometimes disturbing stories that shaped our cultural history. And if this video made you think, give it a like. It helps others find content that goes beyond surface-level readings of ancient texts. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones told between the lines.